Hello everybody, welcome to another modern video. Today we're going to be trying out something that I've been wanting to do for a while, and that is play some Titania Voice of Gaia. This is a new card from the Brothers War. We have a 3-mana 3/4 reach. Whenever one or more land goes into the graveyard from anywhere, you gain 2 life. This means that every time that you fetch, every time that your Saga dies, every time that you channel Voseiju or suck a land to Reclaimer, you're gaining some life, which is a nice little text right there. And then if at the beginning of your upkeep you have 3 or more land cards in your graveyard and you both own and control Titania and Argoth, Phantom of Nature, which is a land that enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a legendary green creature, and you can tap it for green or pay 2 GG to create a 2/2 bear and then mill 3 cards. And then you can flip that into Titania Gaia Incarnate, which is star, vigilance, reach, trample, haste creature, power and toughness equals to lands you control. When it enters the battlefield, you return all of your lands from the graveyard to play tapped, and then you can pay 3G to put 4+1/+1 counters on a land and turn it into a creature, which is a very, very powerful ability when we're going to have access to that many lands in play. So that is what we're going to be trying to assemble. I don't know how easy or tough it's going to be to do, but that's what we're going to be trying to figure out today. I'm playing 2 copies of Titania and 2 copies of Argoth. I'm very aware that it's possible that I should just be playing a singleton copy of Argoth and I can just tutor for it with Reclaimer or with Expedition Map, but we're going to go with 2 for now and see how it goes. The rest of the deck is basically what we have seen in this kind of deck in the past. The only change that I'm making is adding Leyline Binding. This I'm doing mostly because the format is right now in a spot where the creatures that you're trying to kill are Griefs and Fury that are bigger, and then like Murktide Regent or things that you want to be killing instant speed, like an Emry or like a Dashed Monkey or whatever. So because of that, I think that trying to support Leyline Binding is a venture worth trying to pursue. In order to do that, I am basically I'm going into a pretty significant cost, which is I am playing one singleton copy of Rafine's Tower. This means that if I have Tower plus a Stomping Ground, I can have access to Leyline on 2. The awkward thing is that this is basically an ETB tapped Plains, and ETB tapped Plains does not cast my Renin 6, which is a pretty big cost, and also I am forced into switching around my mana base a little bit, so I still have access to the same amount of fetch lands, and I kind of wish that I had one more, which is probably what this second Argoth is going to end up being, but it's forcing me to play Misty Rainforest and Verdant Catacombs so I can fetch this, which these are fetch lands that do not find my Sacred Foundry, so it is a little bit of a cost that I'm paying here, but I think the payoff is going to be worth it. We will see how this league develops, and once we get like a little bit of matches in. We're also having the sideboard Prismatic Ending, Hallowed Moonlight, the singleton Orvar that we can tutor against creativity with our Elder Skull. A couple of copies of Force of Vigor, Endurance, Chalice, Engineered Explosives, Void Mirror. These are obviously my anti-cascade cards. Pithing Needle and extra copies of Boseiju to combo with our Renin 6. So this is what the deck that we're going to be playing today. Really looking forward to trying this out. I have been trying to flip Titania for a while, so hopefully we're going to get to that today finally. If you are enjoying the content, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and if you would like to support my content, you can do so by using the links in the description below to whenever you're trying to use Mana Trader or TCG Player, which are the 2 sponsors of this channel. And if you would like to get a discount code, you can also access it in the description of the video. And you can also support the content through Patreon by individual donations that you can use to actually have me play any deck of your choosing in this channel. And finally, if you're interested in coaching to take your playing to the next level, you can also hit me up. All the information is in the description of the video down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you for round number 1. Okay, welcome to round number 1. We have turn 1 Gracer, turn 2 Endurance. I guess there are some decks that's good against. Yeah, I mean, if we find lands, we're gonna be in good shape. Guess we're about to get scammed. Inquisition. Okay, it's no scam. So this is kind of awkward, right? Because if my opponent takes the Gracer, then I'm gonna be in a spot where I can go turn 1 Stomping Ground tapped or turn 1 Windswept Heath for Rafine's Tower, but I guess I can't get scammed. Never mind. I just realized there's a Jegantha over there. But if I go for, okay, they take Surin Orb. Very interesting. Okay, let's play Gracer, I guess. And I think I'm gonna play the tapped Stomping Ground. I could have also played out the Windswept Heath, but it doesn't really change anything, so this can be an untapped source. If I find Binding, I can actually cast it next turn if I want to. I can also target myself with this Endurance to shuffle back this Ruinor if I really want to. That's a Goif. Alright, my opponent's playing fair over there. Yeah, okay, play this. Opponent doesn't have good attacks because they know about this Endurance. Ren and Tick. Yeah, I'm plussing here, by the way. Find the planes. Plussing, I mean, I'm playing Endurance. I'm gonna cast Endurance. Target my opponent. Just maybe they're not hitting their land drop. Yeah, that's huge. It's a really big deal. Yep, that one's also pretty good. So now by Tarmogoyf, hit the Ren and 6, down to 1, play my Verdant Catacombs, say go. Saga. Okay. Nile Spellbomb, sure. Crack it immediately, just to draw. Okay, that's fine. I mean, they're just gonna drop a Titania next turn. Oh, Fatal Push, sure. They're still not getting a land back. I'm just gonna play Titania and get value. So I think I'm liking my spot here. Get the tower out of the way. Untap. It's not a bad draw either. But this is the turn to do Titania thing. Get back that Windswept Heath. So we're gonna have 2 5/3s this turn. If we untap, we probably just win. So my opponent has this turn to get rid of Titania. Otherwise the game just ends. Plus on nothing. Well, that Endurance was big game. Getting rid of that Bloodstained Mire over there. Okay, passing the turn back. So my opponent can save Ren if they go push plus Bolt. Yeah, that doesn't. Sacred Foundry. So now they're going to be able to chomp, I guess. That's a shitty. Oh, unfortunate. Same with a 5/3. I imagine they're just going to save their. They don't? Or they have another one. So let's plus on Heath. Play out the Heath. Let's say go. The opponent's gonna get a dude here. They can also get another dude in upkeep if they want to. They may fetch Shadow Spear. We basically need to draw anything to do here. We have to be mindful of the fact that Surinor is gone. So there's not gonna be a combo finish for us. Mishra's Research Desk. Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what this card does. It's kind of a weird one. I think that's fine. Rank can go to 1. I'm saving the fetch land in case of Thoughtseize Resolves. I'm saving the fetch land in case of finding Rallier, another Titania. We have multiple draws here. That one is good. That one is certainly good. I have to fetch shock twice, which is a little bit rough, but is it better? Because I can call for Baby Titania. If I call for Baby Titania, that turns these fetch lands into life gain, which is probably not as good as turning fetch lands into 5/3. Yep. 5/3s are better than on to call Titania. 1, 2, Titania. Verdant Catacombs. 5. And I think I want to keep the pressure up here. We have no more fetchables, but we have a pretty significant amount of pressure here. So let's fetch once for Temple Garden. Let's fetch again. This is just to play around Manic Needle, which I doubt my opponent has, but it's kind of free for me to play around. Kind of okay. Man, it would be great to just like draw stuff to do. That was a pretty decent draw right there, but it's not super great. Research Desk and Holy Heat. So they're missing land drops, so they're forced to take the non-land out of that. Okay, so they have another one. Never mind. And we still have 2 5/3s in play here. So down to 2 cards in hand. Fetch Shock. Okay. So they have Goif. Ren. Okay. Alright, this is interesting. So we have some pretty that's probably a good draw. Swing. I have to chump block. Huh, interesting that they fetch Shock there, right? Oh, I guess that it was Verdant Catacombs, so they were missing a red source. Rough for them. I could have pinged there. Is there a reason to ping the Ren and 6? Probably not. It means I can't ping next turn in case my opponent plays like a Ragavan as a chump blocker. Okay. I don't know if that's it, you know? And that's exactly what happens. My opponent reveals Ragavan as a chump blocker. That's funny. Alright. Extreme Explosive sounds fantastic. Orvar sounds randomly great, but probably not worth it. Endurance seems pretty decent. This seems like a pretty good Titania matchup. Probably won a couple of Bosages, but not more than that. Like, I'd rather have all of my other lands. Suranar's fine, Shadow Spear's fine. I gotta make some cuts, but like, what are those cuts? I'm also kind of interested in Prismatic Ending number 3. So maybe the bindings are a little bit worse than endings. Titania seems great. Rallier seems fantastic. Ren seems great. Maybe Grazer's out? Don't think I care about Needle. Reclaimer is 1 mana, wins the game if it survives. Not very likely to survive, however. Maybe we can do this. Maybe I should be cutting Illidan's Call. Just have only 2 of them. Oh, that's so close. This hand is so freaking close. Guess I'm gonna keep it. I'm only doing this because I'm playing against the Thoughtseize Inquisition deck. Opponent moves to 6. Oh, there's the discard spell on 1. I wonder if my opponent's just gonna take Soul God Lantern here because it's the only castable spell in my hand. It's greedy. Like, they should probably just take Reclaimer, but maybe they see this hand, they're like, okay, so if my money hits land drops, there's no way I can win, so I just have to get lucky and I just have to take this Soul God Lantern there. Maybe that's just like the right strategy. No, my opponent respects the Reclaimer. Second Flagstones is a funny draw. It does give me green mana though. It does give me green mana. Fetch. Can't Ren and 6. Goifo. Okay, that's a 2-3 Goif. Endurance. So I can turn the Goif into a 3-4. I think I'm interested in drawing a card here. Alright, that's pretty good. So, just gonna play this out. Keep that. Get Temple Garden. It's awkward for the Leyline Binding, but Endurance is nice here. Thoughtseize. Opponent can take the Binding, but then Endurance gets him. Binding makes the Goif a 5-6 this turn. If they take the Binding, I mean. It's probably not the great play though, so I don't know why they do that, but the thing is that if they don't, then I can just play the Binding, so kind of an awkward spot for my opponent. They take Titania? Why? What can their hand be that they're choosing to take Titania there? Do I play around removal? The nice thing about playing around removal here is that it allows me to not have to fetch Shock. And I'm still not going to be able to double spell next turn unless I find exactly another fetch land. Yeah, I think I'm going to pass and I'm going to cast Endurance. It's awkward, right? Because I have a couple of lines available to make... Like, I'm going to have to fetch Shock Stomping Ground to play this Endurance. Or I could... And then I just eat my opponent's Goif. But next turn, there's no way that I can double spell. So if my opponent has... I guess they need to have exactly turn. Or I guess they could have, like, Bolt. And then they just Bolt here. And, like, Goif bounces with Endurance. And then plus the Bolt kills the Endurance. Yeah, okay. It's kind of fine, I guess. That was fun. That was fun. That was a fun draw. That was a very fun draw. Dashed Monkey. Alright. I respect the hustle. My opponent's gonna flip Ren in 6. I just know it. You know what? You know when you just know that your opponent's gonna flip the Ren in 6? You just know it. Like that Ren in 6 that was coming to me, it's not gonna go to my opponent. Okay, Misty Rainforest. That would have also been great. Fetch, put Jegantha in hand. You got it. Dash Monkey back to hand. Play my fetch land. Play my Titania that you know is coming. If there's one matchup that I could... If I could choose to play like one matchup every single round of a competitive tournament, it would probably be this one. It would probably be this matchup, yeah. See you next round. Why do you tease me like this, deck? Why do you tease me like this? We're on the play, so I'm not gonna keep this hand, but boy, was that gorgeous. Boy, was that gorgeous. So we keep these. We keep these. Lead on tower? Bottom basic planes? Because leading on tower means that I get to go anywhere I want from there. Like if I draw Leyline Binding, I can cast it. The only thing I can't draw is Ren in 6. Oh my god, that's so punishing too. Yeah, I guess I have to lead on Sanctum, on Argoth, which is really awkward. Yeah, that's brutal. Just because of Leyline, of Ren and 6. Sparble of Canal, I'm gonna get punished. Well, that sucks for me. Playing against Murktide, I guess. Keep crack, of course. Hey! Man, it feels good to play around drawing something and then drawing exactly that something that you were hoping to draw and that you played around drawing. Feels good. Not gonna lie, it does feel pretty good. So now if they don't kill Ren, we're gonna get to do some pretty sick ramping there. Fetch land. No fetch land. Man, this is rough. I think I have to play Saga. This means that I'm not gonna be able to ley line binding for at least a couple of turns. It's probably worth doing though. DRC. Okay, that's a fetch land. And my opponent's tapped out. Oh boy. Oh boy. Basic planes. Play a Renegade Rallier. Get back Ren and 6. Yeah, that one. That's the one I want to get back. Alright, show me that Consider, opponent. No Consider. Rallier is fun. I like Renegade Rallier. It's a fun magic card. It qualifies as fun. Maybe I'm biased. Maybe I'm biased. But it does seem like a fun card. Oh wait, are we gonna get to untap with Ren? Oh my god. We get to untap with Ren and 6. Imagine being so lucky that you get to untap with the card Ren and 6 in play. Oh no, Ren down. That's fine. Am I mapping here? If I map, I can set up another Saga, so I think I am mapping. Also, we're holding up Boseiju here. Next turn, we get to serve with both. I mean, that top deck Ren was the story of this game, right? If I don't top deck that Ren and 6, my opponent probably runs away with the game. But that top deck Ren and 6 made my Rallier so much better. It traded with 4 of my opponent's cards. Okay, iteration. If they had tapped out for Murktide there, boy, would that have been a good time. Flooded Strand. Okay. So now we are actually presented with a very interesting question, right? And that question is, do we want to play around main deck Blood Moon? Because if the answer is yes, then we want to hold on to this expedition map so we can crack it for a red source. For a basic forest. I don't think we do main deck. May get punished by this. I mean, I can still just Boseiju the Blood Moon. It's just so much better than Leyline binding it, right? It's so much worse, I mean. But if I have to do it, I'll just do it. No fetch on end step, which does suggest the possibility of Blood Moon. Maybe not. Murktide. Alrighty. Murktide could be a problem, but I built my deck to support this card. It's gonna pay off. Built my deck to support this card because of this reason specifically, and it looks like it's working out. Alright, you got me. Untap. We got another one. So that's gone. Here's this. I'm gonna play the fetch land here, but I'm not gonna crack it. If I draw another Rallier, having the fetch land is better, and also if I draw Titania, it's a lot better. So at this point, it's just a matter of having the fetch land in play gives me so many more options. Man, that top deck Ren and 6 was game winning. Alright, Murktide. I like Endurances. I like Chalice, I think. I don't like Reclaimers. Prismatic Ending is good. At least it's fine. I guess I should assume that my opponent's gonna be bringing Blood Moon, so maybe I should bring in another copy of Boseiju instead of Argoth. And I think that is it. I think that's it. Just gonna try to play mid-range here. I guess I could cut a Saga. Yeah, let's cut a Saga for another. I like that. I like that. This deck cannot do like Amulet, where you're just like cutting every single Saga and just go with from there. But actually, this is better. If I'm cutting Reclaimers, cutting redundant Flagstones is better than cutting, because green sources are more valuable than white sources. Particularly in this list that has access to, you know, 2, effectively 4 basic planes, right? All of these lands only tap functionally for white mana in the deck, so more green sources, more better. Okay, what do we got here? Turn 2 Ren. Combo. I'm not gonna mulligan the combo. What kind of monster would I be if I mulligan the combo? Honestly, it's kind of rough that Argoth only counts legendary green creatures. It should say legendary green permanent, right? If you're trying to make this a thing in modern, like if you want to like bridge the gap and make this a thing in modern, then I mean you gotta hook me up. You know what I'm saying? Like you're just gonna make things a little bit easier for me. I'm trying to do something funkier, something that's a good time for everybody watching. Just help a brother up. You know what I'm saying? Polluted Delta. I respect the OG frame. I love it. I love that. Okay, so we're gonna lead on Argoth because otherwise I'm gonna have to use this Misty to find a green source for Ren. Honestly, now that I think about it, maybe I messed this up. Maybe I should have led on Stomping Ground tapped. Again, I'm playing around Blood Moon, so if I'm going to do that, then I should have probably led on that. Yeah, I mean at this point it's probably too late. Also, this doesn't find the red source because the red source in my hand. Yeah, this is kind of a disaster. I should have gone for Stomping Ground into green source. I messed up. Also, now I can't blast on a fetch land. Yeah, this was just very bad on every single account. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna not resolve my Ren and 6 hands, but like this is a very weak Ren as opposed to a strong one, which it could have been. If they have Blood Moon here, effectively lose on the spot. Yeah, this was very poorly sequenced on my part. Very, very poorly sequenced. Should have slowed down and thought about it a little bit more. Mishra's Bubble. We're gonna play something else, or we're gonna tap out. Opponent's gonna have the information about what I'm drawing. Heat. Ren and 6 down. That probably suggests that my opponent does not have another. It suggests that they probably don't have another land drop. So now the question is, do I want to play around Spell Pierce? I probably do, which means that I'm going to play Titania this turn. Interesting. Yeah, I'll probably still play. So basic forest. Let's play the Voice of Gaia. 1 land. We need 4 of them. We have 3. Oh, iteration. Okay. It's not the worst. Parable of Canal. Alright. Do we have the answer for Titania? They do. Oh, Monkey. Okay. For Titania. I'm gonna take 4 to the face, though. Not loving that part of it, but everything else is fine. Taking 4. Let's see if we can find. It would be awesome to find Leyland Binding. We're gonna be bogging this coming turn, though, if we don't find Binding. Grazer. That's kind of very good. So let's play Ren. Ping, Grazer. This is gonna trigger Connive, and then Grazer is gonna put the Bujuki Bog into play. Also of note, we are actually currently triggering Boseiju. We can cast Boseiju for a single. No more graveyard for you. Here's a land. Alright. We're doing some stuff. We're doing some stuff here. And now if they want to trigger Shredder main phase, they're gonna have to tap out. They're gonna go face? If they go face with Shredder, do I chump? I probably don't. I do save the Ren and 6 though. Like Ren is actually providing me, like I already have another Titania in hand, so like Ren is providing a pretty significant amount of value. Like this needs to attack though. Like you just kind of have to choose where you're going, but like this needs to go somewhere. It can't just sit back. It's such a bad play for them to sit back there. I think I'm just taking it. Like, what are they going to have? Like, triple Lightning Bolt? I'm not playing around triple Lightning Bolt, you know? Because I can just gain a life at instant speed. Oh, I should have done it before this. Well, this is awkward now. Passing the turn. It's a pretty good draw. Play a land. So I guess I'm just going to pass the turn back here. Because I can play around double Lightning Bolt. Put a stop on my opponent's upkeep. And fetch. Gain 2. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get for Fiend's Tower and pass it back. If we want to, we can gain 2 life at instant speed, which is nice thanks to Boseiju. Day iteration, finding Flooded Strand, which is pretty good. This turn, this Grazer is going under the bus though, because I guess I can Argoth. Oh, this is only sorcerer speed. Oh, that's brutal. That is brutal. Okay, so opponent is attacking. I think I'm blocking, and then I'm gonna Leyline Bind. Block there, fetch, gain 2. Thank you. Temple Garden, Leyline Binding, and this should probably force a counterspell from my opponent's hand, which means that then we get to untap and play the other Titania. Everything's working out exactly as planned. Ha 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 ha. Alright. Shout out to baby Titania and the incidental life gain. Big shout out to baby Titania and the incidental life gain. Doing some work. Play that out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Titania Tribal. Titania Tribal, let's go. Do I hold big Tit? I guess I'm gonna hold her back to block. There's no reason to like just randomly die to something like that. Opponent fetches on my end step for basic island. Interesting. Are they using? Wait, what? Why would you do that there? That's weird. What? Why wouldn't they get steam vents? Even if they did have Blood Moon, like it just doesn't do anything. I'm gonna serve. I respect it. I respect the serve. Triggers. Fetch and triggers. Okay, we got some triggers, got some life gain, we got some 5/3s. What else could you want? Right? Bold Titania, you got it. Let me get another 5/3 on the way out while we're at it. Gain a couple more life, get a 5/3. So I guess if my opponent does have a Murktide, this could potentially be a problem. I do have to kind of watch out for that for us. So do I want to gain 2 more? I don't think so. That's a hit. And this is why I was saying I didn't quite understand the point of not getting a shock red source there. Murktide. Okay, so I guess that it wouldn't have mattered because they just had the nutso. So we need to find Leyline Binding off the top. That's how we win this game. Binding? Saga. That doesn't quite do it actually, which is unfortunate. Yep, that's kind of brutal. They just had it all. Changes. Not really. Let's try it again. Last round, interesting opener. I think I'm gonna keep it. Endurance is pretty solid. We also have access to Binding, which does cost 4 mana with this mana situation, but we have Prismatic Ending ×2. We saw how important Ledger Shredder was the previous round. So we also have Saga, which I think it's basically 100% guaranteed that my opponent has Blood Moon in their deck. They also very likely have Dress Down as well, which is a little bit awkward, but it is what it is. Still think I'm supposed to lead on Saga. Yeah, so this is basically just my opponent just saying, yep, I have the Blood Moon over here. It's likely in their hand. Because that's like a very, very aggressive fetch of a basic. So it's very likely that they have Blood Moon actually in their hand. Okay, so they pass the turn doing nothing. So we're going to spend this turn playing out this basic forest. And I think I'm going to, if they do Blood Moon, I'm going to Endurance. As opposed to making a construct. I think it's close. We can then untap and Prismatic. Okay. I think I'm getting my value here. We're planning to Dress Down, but I don't think that's that big of a deal. But Jukebog is interesting. So let's make a construct. This Dress Down. Heat. Well, this is really good for me. Yeah, this is really, really good for me. So let's get, I think we're just going to get Shadow Spear. And just play with Jukebog. Just delay the Murktide a little bit. Now we're going to have access to Endurance if we want to. We got Prismatic Ending for 3 if my opponent moons. If they play nothing, I'm just gonna attack. Oh, they just main phase Heat. Kind of weird actually, but sure. I'm gonna pass the turn. Opponent very strongly representing the counterspell. I think I'm just gonna untap here because I want to save. I basically want to save the Endurance for the turn where I'm trying to resolve a big spell. So like if I top deck Titania, for example, then what I can do is, once I know I have the Titania in hand, I can end step, do that, like play the Endurance, force my opponent to tap 2 of their 3 mana, and then I can untap and resolve the Titania. So there's just no need for me to get hasty here. So now we can just do that in my opponent's end step. Endurance is such a fantastic card. I love this card so much. Oh, that's when they draw the Delta. That's brutal. Alright, I'm still gonna play this Endurance here, I think. It puts a little bit of pressure. If they have a counterspell, this is definitely worth countering. Boseiju, play Titania. So they need to have exactly second counterspell, which is not like super unlikely, but they're probably not gonna tap any lower. Literally more than twice the clock, my opponent. Pretty frustrating. Always a frustrating experience to be playing versus an opponent that's so slow. All right, so fetch shock. We have the other counterspell. Just cast it. Like this has been an agony. This has been like 1 minute subtlety. Wow. Sure. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna put Titania on top in case you were wondering. Particularly now that I know that they don't have counterspell. They pitch Spell Pierce to it, which is fine. Like it's pretty much a dead draw. But like, why would they fetch and shock then? They have a Braid for this, and they would have cast it here. It's weird. It would be kind of brutal if they have like Dashed Monkey. That would be a little bit of a beating, because Dashed Monkey would like exile the Titania. And if that were to happen, I think I would just fetch to get my Triumph, just so I have 4 Titanias in my deck, because otherwise I know what it's getting exiled. Okay, so they know what I'm drawing, and I know they don't have counterspell in hand, so maybe they have another subtlety. Now they counterspell? Okay, strange, but I'll take it. Island, Murktide, Unlicensed Hearse. Do I even care about that card? I guess I probably do. I'm gonna take a fetch here, Fiend's Tower. Not a bad draw. Not a bad draw at all. Exile Murktide. Green, white, pressing the Hearse. I mean, it's basically free to do, right? It's not like I'm using my mana. Even if they have Blood Moon, I have like 3 answers to it in my hand. Alright, got my lands. Now we just start spitting out 2/2s. Alright, this is pretty good. That's not bad at all. Iteration is literally the best possible thing they could have drawn. Okay, so now I'm over 3 times my opponent's clock. Mishra's Bauble. Alright. So now the Naya was on the top of my head, of my deck, sorry, that's a Blood Moon. Now you have 6, but that's fine. Could have also fetched there. So 1, 2, 3. This means I don't get to activate Argoth. I really want to activate Argoth, I think. So I think I'm gonna play out this Boseiju. Just make it 2/2. Mill 3. Alright. Swing for 2. Bear you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Activate Argoth again. Starting to unholy heat the tokens. Alright. Maybe I should have played out the Grazer just as a random blocker. Bear token. I choose you. Let's play out a Suran Orb. Just because, mostly. 1, 2, 3. Oh, also, I just realized that I'm not equipping Shadow Spear. Which is obviously quite bad. Yeah, let's equip Shadow Spear now. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Tapped land. Okay. Okay, now I'm gonna equip pre-combat now that I noticed my stupid ass mistake. Let's do this, mate. Hodawar, sure. I mean, I don't know how long my opponent's gonna be able to sustain this. Oh, I'm in combat. Whoops. Second main. So my Titanias are all gone now. So this is just my opponent versus my land. Can they do it? Can they beat it? They kept on top. And holy heat. Alright. Soul Guide Lantern. 3, 4. I mean, this kind of works. Let's get this Unholy Heat, I think. And suit up my bear. My bear has been suited up. Somehow we still do not have a red source in play, which is remarkable. That is a monkey. That is very much a monkey. We have red sources to get. Not really. Because I could sack to Suranor, but we don't really have a red source. Here's a bear attack. Okay. Let's Argoth. Let's play a Grazer just as a random blocker. Say no, pass the turn. And I could crack this Soul Guide. I'm probably going to do that on my opponent's end step, because I don't care about a Murktide. Wow. My opponent cannot beat the land. That was a pretty good showing for Argoth. Not gonna lie. Just a never-ending stream of tutus gets there. This reminds me of a card that we used to play in Amulet. Interesting. Interesting. Round number 3, and probably not gonna keep this one. Ish. I mean, I'm gonna keep this one. It's just kind of odd. We don't have Ren mana. We also don't have... I guess we do have Leyland mana if we really want it. I'm probably still gonna fetch for red-green. Really hoping to find an untapped green source here. We don't have very many. Hey, I'll take that. Here's Ren 6. They have Spell Pierce, are gonna get me, but otherwise we're hopefully gonna pull ahead here. And we have like the sequence of Saga into, you know, past the turn into Titania of Surinor. What are we playing against? Creativity, looks like. Leyline Bind. Okay, that's gonna resolve Saga here. Play out the Shadow Spear, just because. Prismatic Ending, not hitting too many things here, which is a little bit rough. Kinda wishing that Boseiju were in my hand right about now. Them not playing anything is good for me though. Let's play Rallier. Temple Garden. It's a pretty decent sequence here. And I guess I might as well fetch and equip. Like I already have my mana in play and might as well use my mana for something productive. If my opponent does find Archon, if they have creativity, I mean, that means that next turn they play Archon, they kill my Rallier, I discard this Plains. No, I discard Prismatic Ending. And then again tap, I get Surinor of Saga. And I just make a bunch of dudes. Seems pretty good. Opponent fetches. What are they doing? Prismatic commit. Okay. Draw 2, discard 2, and blow up Shadow Spear. Interesting that no... no treasure. Well, that's a great exchange for me. Now my Surinor is gonna be good to go now. And it looks like my opponent is going for Archon here. Oh. Well, that's a lot better for me. Well, now we're looking extremely good. Float a mana, get Surinor, play Titania, get Misty, play Verdant Catacomb, fetch, get a 5/3, and I think I'm gonna kill the Goblin Shaman here. If I could kill Fable, I would obviously kill that, but this limits my opponent's options, and it limits my opponent's, which are 2 things that I'm interested in limiting, so my opponent can, I guess, make 2 Archons. That means they go up to 23 and kill 2 of my tokens. I'm gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm willing to lose 2 Engineered Explosives here. Yeah, I don't want to show them the... If you have Engineered Explosives, you got me, opponent, in your creativity deck. And I'm also gonna make sure that I can kill basically anything. F6, Titania down. Can you stop my 40 power? Sounds about right. Orbar, get in here. Boseiju? Well, obviously Hallowed Moonlight. Don't think I want Endurance. Probably want Explosives. I can... Leyline Binding is interesting. Probably better than Prismatic Ending because it's instant speed. Don't want Titania. And let's do that. Do I want Peating Needle for... Peating Needle and Force of Vigor are the 2 things that I'm not too sure about. Those are very interesting. Won all my calls with the Orvar. I guess I just don't need Force of Vigor. So since I don't need it, maybe Bojuka Bog should be coming out. Turn to a Ren. Okay. Yeah, keep this. Also, Boseiju is pretty nice. We got call for Orvar. Seem to be in good shape. Put him moves to 6, but they're on the play. Reclaimer would be a decent draw. Argoth. Okay, so we can lead on Argoth. Play Ren off the Stomping Ground. And I can't get comboed on turn 3, which is good. That's a Ren with the very awkward art. My Ren is a lot better than my opponent's. Plus on nothing. Love to see it. Another call is our draw. So now we can Now we're in a situation where we can play towards... We can get Orvar, and then we can also get Titania. Okay, so my opponent found land, which is good for them. Probably their best draw there. Only a single white source is a little bit awkward for me. Because if I go for... So the best thing would be if my opponent Leyline Bindings my thing, right? My Ren. Okay. Get a fetch. Let's get a basic plains here. Plus, and let's play a shadow. So now I can call for probably Titania. If my opponent doesn't do anything. And if they do something, I just call for Orvar. I probably win the game if my opponent goes for it here. Oh wow. Alright. That's an Archon. Here's a Lambris Call. Here's an Orvar. I will sack my Ryan, you got me. Oh, whoops. Oh, what? Oh, look at that. I have an Archon. You have an Archon? I have an Archon. That's funny. Funny how that works. You have an Archon, I have an Archon. Everybody's got an Archon. They get back a land. So lucky. I guess my Archon has a Shadow Spear attached to it. I kind of want to call for Gracer. As awkward as that may sound. Because if I call for Gracer, my opponent's Archon just doesn't do anything. And it also allows me to... So I play this. Call for Gracer. Play Gracer. I guess I can't actually do everything that I want to be doing. Which is a little bit awkward. Probably still worth doing though. I guess I should have probably attacked first. So maybe my sequencing here is poor. Should have attacked first, then done that. Attack opponent, sack your Ren, 6U, draw a card, expedition map. Probably gonna hold on to that one. So now, but I guess now they can make only a single token. So the thing would be if they have Leyline Binding. If they have creativity number 2 plus binding, that would be bad for me. They would need to have both. They can't just have one. Oh, there's some haymakers going on over here. So now we're gonna get Raffine's Tower. Got me. So now we're gonna Leyline the Archon. We can make a construct. Oh, that actually plays around the removal on my Leyline, which is nice. Let's play a fetch land. Pass the turn. Not gonna play out expedition map. We basically don't really have to do anything. Alpine Moon. Sucks a little bit, but it's not the end of the world. Make it 2/2 out of the deal. I'm gonna name my Saga. Just a little bit unfortunate. I'm gonna have to start making some to persist. I'm just gonna Hallowed Moonlight. There we go. So they exile their own Archon. Play tapped land. Alright. Another binding is nice. So we have Sacred Foundry in the deck, so let's get Sacred Foundry. Actually, I probably shouldn't do that. So let's play tap land. Let's play Expedition Map. Swing. Oh, I should have equipped. My bad. Should have equipped. It's a mistake. Hopefully don't get punished. So my opponent should be at 1 less life. But I need to hold that binding in case my opponent has another way to combo here. Goblin Shaman. I can Boseiju this. I can binding this. Yeah, I think I'd rather. Let's Boseiju the Fable. Like the draw 2 is just like they get a free token out of the deal, but they get less looks. And now this means that I just draw the Shaman. My opponent can also like threaten to triple block. Oh, I guess they actually have to take a point to. They actually have to take a point to. It's not really a good trade. Reclaimer. Okay, it's not bad. So the 1 point of damage missed last turn may potentially matter. They take 4, we gain 4. Going to fetch first so I don't mill my fetchable lands. My fetchable land. This happen. Make it 2/2. That's some fodder for Archon. Reclaimer. And now we pass it on. So they need to draw exactly. It needs to be exactly creativity. Needs to be exactly creativity. I guess they can also just hardcast an Archon, but if they just have an Archon to hardcast, I just win. Because I just exile they hardcast the Archon, they exile. Like I just exiled it with Leyline, doing for lethal. So it needs to be exactly creativity. We're just gonna give him it's gonna give them exactly 1 token, one Archon. Yeah. All right, 3-0. Jegantha has been revealed and Splinter Twin has been achieved. Keep. We keep these hands. So we're gonna fetch for Stomping Ground, and we're just gonna rejoice on how sick our hand is. Turn 1 Reclaimer. Go. Jegantha deck. Lightning Bolt. Don't bolt my Reclaimer, bro. God damn it. Alright, Reclaimer down. It's not over, though. It's not over. Ren, go. I choose you. Ren and 6, I choose you. So now we're going to be in an interesting spot where my opponent's probably playing... Oh, never mind. I was going to say they're playing the Obosh deck, but looks like they may be on something else. Okay, yeah, this is definitely something else. Please crack that bubble. Yes. Yes. Crack that bubble. Crack that bubble. Yeah, okay. So this allows me to just keep developing my board, which I like a lot. So like that Leyline Binding draw is pretty decent. So now we get rid of the Emery. Oh, I should have Prismatic Ending. What am I doing? That was bad. Yeah, that was very, very poor. For whatever reason, I was thinking, no, I can't ending, but at least I can bind him. But it's just like, no, I can just Prismatic Ending. I can just cast the other spell, so I can hold up the better spell for later. Another Emery. Okay, this one's gonna get got by the Prismatic Ending. So red, white, and black. Prismatic Ending, the Emery. Do I want to just bog here, or do I want to just Argoth? We definitely want a plus. That's the easy part. Think I bog? Can I lose here? No, I can't lose. So I think I'm just gonna play Argoth. Actually, they don't have anything in play. They need to have Grinding Station or something else. So this plays better around another Emery. My opponent, if they were so lucky as to have another Emery, Iteration, it's pretty lucky. Iteration's pretty lucky. Would be interesting to draw Titania, actually. Boseiju would be another sick draw. Monkey. They're going face? They're going face. Expedition Map. Should probably play it. They don't play Expedition Map? That can't be right. Okay, so this is gonna be the turn where I'm just going to fetch for, I guess, a white source. Let's fetch for a green source, actually. Then we play Rallier, get back Reclaimer. Then we're going to play another. So that's a bunch of stuff to have in play now. Seems good. And if I don't die this turn, which I want to give my opponent a chance to use to crack this Mishra's Bubble. So as is, I don't think I can lose this coming turn. Maybe I'm wrong. No, actually I can lose. But they need a way to filter their mana. But if they have... They need to have Breach into... kill you, basically. Play Monkey. They need to find Mock. Maybe I should have bogged. Yeah, maybe I should. Maybe I messed it up. Maybe I should have just bogged. Man, this Bridge deck is so insane. It can win from such a low bar. Like, my opponent was just, like, doing their thing, right? Like, they weren't really doing anything. They just resolved a couple of errors, which I answered, but they got some value on the way out. And I guess on the way in, technically. And it just, like, didn't really matter, right? It just kind of didn't really matter at all. And it's kind of brutal, really, how little they need to win. If I had another Leyland Binding, we could have been in business. But yeah, maybe I got a little bit too greedy there. So Endurance, Needle, Boseiju. Probably can't mess around with Argoth plus Titania in this matchup, unfortunately. What else? Chalice. Probably want Chalice on 0. And Force of Vigor, obviously. Obviously, we want Force of Vigor. Reclaimer seems pretty decent. Probably can cut the Gracers, the Shadow Spear, and the Renegade Rally. Maybe a Titanium. Let's cut a Titanium. Rallier has just more random utility. Oh, actually, I can just cut Coal. Maybe cutting Coal is better. So I have to assume that my opponent is not playing Oracle. They're going to be playing something like something else, like some other form of win condition. Let's keep this hand. Let's go Temple Garden tapped, say go. Still don't know what I'm going to be. What I'm going to name with this needle. I think I'm going to name just the card that kills me. But maybe I need to name Emery. Maybe Grinding Station is just the go-to thing to name. The problem is that they can win without Grinding Station. Like Prismatic Ending, that's dead. Play my Saga. We're gonna name. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna name Grinding Station. They just can't go infinitely without Grinding Station. They can use the Iconoclast, however you pronounce that. Mox Amber, Research Desk. It's pretty messed up actually. Wow, they find a 0. Wow. Man, I wish I could be this lucky. They just casually find a 0. Brutal. Alright. So this is not working out now. Now this is just not working out at all. Now I'm super far behind. They have an active Emery. I'm naming Grinding Station like an idiot. Yeah, I'm super far behind here. I basically need to draw force and nothing else matters. I think that's literally the only thing that matters here. For me to draw force of bigger. Only way I can get back into the game. Second Saga. Jesus. Alright, here's a tutu. here's my tutu. Look at it. It's great, right? Isn't it great? Don't you think it's great? I'm also 1 mana away from what's his name? From Titania. Which was an argument for holding onto the Saga, but like good thing that I did play it because it was gonna fall pretty behind anyway. So let's find Soul Guide. Wow. Let's take the research thing. Maybe that's wrong because that requires mana to do its thing. Well, Bubble doesn't. So my opponent's doing that thing right there. But now they have to... These triggers go on the stack, so they still can't cast the Bubble. Let's see if they're gonna make it. They are. So that's the first trigger that goes on the stack. And then the second one, that's when I exile. So now they can go find another Bubble if they want to. I just don't think I'm gonna have enough time. Like the double Saga is brutal. I think I could have done something if my opponent didn't have double Saga, but double Saga is just devastating. Because like it just erases me way too quickly. So I just need to draw Force of Vigor at this point. It needs to be exactly Force, not Force. So now they have another 5/5. Even if I get my tokens going, it's just not fast enough. Yeah. So I guess I can top deck what exactly Suranorb. If I top deck exactly Suranorb, maybe. This is definitely wishful thinking at this point though. So I chump one of these. Oh, never mind. They just get 2 artifacts. These are 7/7s each, so I just lose. Yeah, man, I'm so freaked out by this deck. Like it just looks so insane to me. Like it surprises me that it's not 80% of the metagame. This feels like the best deck in the format by a pretty wide margin. Like I feel like, I mean, not by a wide margin, I guess, because like Scam is pretty messed up too. But this one seems like as Scam is swingy yet very powerful. This deck feels like a lot more consistent. It can win out of nowhere. And like this deck has been broken for probably years at this point, and right now only people are starting to notice that, which blows my mind. Like if I were into this kind of deck, I would just be grinding this nonstop. Last round, baby. Can we keep this hand? I'm going to. Like we probably should just... No green source in this deck is kind of a big deal. We need green to function. Here we can cast Prismatic Ending, and if we do whiff on finding a land after this Saga, we're just super dead. And we're playing against Scam, so hey. Alright, it's not the worst. Alright, so Basic Forest, Gracer. Now the question is, do we want to play Saga, or do we want to play Sacred Foundry? Because playing Sacred Foundry is pretty nice. Let's assume my opponent's going to scam me here. If that's the case, they're going to take Renin 6 and Renegade Rallier, and then I can just make a construct. This is probably the better play. This means that I cannot go turn 2 Renin to fetch in order to play, like, just be insulated from Blood Moon. Voidwalker. Okay. So that probably needs to die, because that slows my entire engine. So I'm just gonna kill that. And if they steal Titania, such a big deal. So play Suranorb, get some nice little life gain. But I think there's gonna be a Blood Moon in my future here, because my opponent fetched for a basic swamp. Another Voidwalker. That sucks. That really sucks. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna make a construct then, just to guarantee some value. I mean, this is gonna be a 3/3, like that's no joke. Let's go for Shadow Spear. Has to turn here. Second Boy Walker is kind of a beating there. Really wish I could have dodged that. So now if they have Thoughtseize, they can take Titania and cast Titania. Oh, also I forgot to gain life from Suranor. Man, I always... It's really funny how I always forget that specific play. So now they're going to be able to Titania, which is going to be really hard to beat. Dothy is like such a nightmare for us. It just does everything that we want. It does everything that we're scared of, right? Like, it just is hate, so we cannot trigger out Titania. And then if they have this exact combination, like, this is obviously like an absolute blowout, right? We do have Shadow Spear. It's not going to be enough to raise Titania, though. Wait, what? Oh, they're doing that because it's just free to play. If they haven't had Thoughtseize, they should cast it right now. I think it's possible my opponent's getting a little bit cute here. So they do crack their Dothy, and they're just gonna get it back. But now we get to fetch for a Plains. And now we get to Ren plus. They get back to like, what? Opponent, have you seen what this card does? I'm not sure if you've seen what this card does, opponent. You could have done that, except you would have 2 5/3s in play. I am very confused right now. Well, I'm gonna play this Ren in 6. I'm gonna plus it. I'm gonna get my land. I'm gonna play my land. Fetch for a basic forest. Play around Blood Moon very nicely. And then I'm going to suit up this construct. And we're gonna get in there for 4. My opponent's gonna need to do something about this, or they're gonna get got. Like, if their next turn is just like Blood Moon, they literally lose. If they cast a Blood Moon. Fury. Okay. So if they have the evoke thing, the unearth thing, they kill both construct and Ren. Oh, and the dude. Okay. Wait, what? Are they just hoping that I didn't find a land? Because it's not gonna work out for them. They have Thoughtseize, okay. Dothy number 3, dude. No, just. Oh, okay. Yeah, I actually just have to kill that thing. I literally just have to kill Dothy there, which is pretty brutal. But like, this Titania just doesn't do anything. My opponent then bolts Titania, and I just fall so far behind. So I literally have to like time walk myself just to kill that Dothy, which is brutal. But at least their turn is just like dash a monkey. So now I'm feeling extremely ahead. Again, one of their last remaining 2 cards could be another Thoughtseize, but even if they have that, it's like not that much of a big deal anyways at this point. So if they pass the turn back, we just... Yep. I should have lost this game. My opponent just made some mistakes that rightfully ended up costing them. So let's get back my fetch with Titania. And I have like, I can serve, get my life back, and I guess I might as well just like move the Shadow Spear over to Titania. Fetch, make a dude, get Stomping Ground, shock, move Shadow Spear over here. My opponent's draw was insane against ours, but them not taking that Titania on that key turn. I thought that their game plan was gonna be they're gonna like get Rallier and then like get back Dothy, basically getting a free value, a free Rallier in the process. Like, it's cute. Still don't think it's the right play, but like, it would have been kind of cute. Like, it would have maybe worked. But they ended up just going for the the absolute worst possible play instead, which I'm okay with. Okay, so I do want Boseiju, and I do want the 3rd copy of Endurance. I do want Prismatic Ending, don't want Force, do want Hallowed Moonlight. Actually, do I want Hallowed Moonlight? I think I don't on the play. I think I do. I don't on the draw. I think I do on the play. So let's cut this back. Actually, Titania seems like it lines up pretty well against what my opponent's doing. Like, just the 3/4 just kind of works against what my opponent's trying to do. Bojuki Ball can probably go. Makes my Reclaimer a little bit bad against their scam game plan, but I think that's okay. I have never tried Orvar in this matchup on any deck that I've played. I'm probably not gonna start right now, right? Yeah, Let's just not do that. Also, I just realized that it's kind of cute that if I just literally hard cast Orvar, I can then like prismatic ending my like endurance or Ren. Like all my stuff is legendary, so it doesn't quite work. But like I could get like a free trigger from Titania, which is kind of cool, right? Just go ahead and prismatic ending my Titania just to get a normal trigger. That's cute. Okay, let's stop with the nonsense and actually try to make sure that I can sideboard. Let's gotta call 2 more cuts. I guess I could cut some reclaimers. Let's actually cut all the reclaimers. Bring back the call and 1 Hallowed Moonlight. Let's try this out. Not sure about this Cyberlink plan at all, but we'll see how it goes. Man, those Dothies are brutal. Okay. I'm probably just keeping any hand because I know that it's gonna be shredded to pieces. This is pretty good against the Grief, which is nice. Against Fury, sorry. Yeah, let's play Rafine's Tower and pass the turn. So this makes it so next turn, if I draw Leyline Binding, I can just cast it, which is nice. Hopefully they kept a hand that's just like, oh, here's my Blood Moon. You can't beat that, which is very much not true. That's a very common misconception when people see this deck, like, oh yeah, obviously, Blood Moon you and kill you. And it's just like, nah, I can actually beat a Blood Moon fairly easily. Blood Moon backed up by counter magic is a little bit harder to beat, but like Blood Moon by itself, it's not really that hard to beat for this deck. Leyline Binding would be a nice draw. Another Titania. Okay, so slightly awkward that Thoughtseize. Okay, Thoughtseize away. Maybe we can just blow it up, Blood Moon if we want to. We do give them a land, which is not something I'm particularly excited about doing. They do take the Endurance. And there's a Magus. Okay, can't answer that one. Okay, it's a funny top deck. Play that. Play that. Here we go. So if I find a basic forest, we're gonna be in an interesting spot. Lightning Bolt just to get in. Like, it would have been so much better for him to play a monkey this turn. Just play the monkey, just wait 1 more turn, and then next turn you bolt the Gracer, and then you are swinging with monkey instead of having to dash it. Hardcast Grief. So at this point, we're probably too far behind. Just don't have enough pieces to make things work. I guess we can just top deck. If we top deck, Prismatic Ending. If we top deck a Prismatic Ending, we can Ending Magus, play Titania, gain some life. At this point, we're probably just too far behind. We're taking 7 and taking that next turn. Okay, now we're on the play. Got the Moonlight. Bring in Reclaimers now, because if my opponent spends their turn answering Reclaimer, that means that I'm not getting scammed, which is good for me. It's got Call, and we want all of our removal. I'm just gonna cut the call. So, all right, keep this. We can probably lose to turn 1 Grief, but we beat most everything else. And my opponent is the unluckiest scam player I've ever seen. So we're gonna be playing some Ren and 6 here. I'm gonna see some Ren over here. The sequencings with the land in the deck have been a little bit awkward. So that's something to keep in mind, because our mana kind of being pulled in so many different directions and kind of polar opposite directions as well, right? Like we want to be trying to set things up so that we can play a red-green card on turn 2, but we also want to set up the Rafine's thing. So it's kind of like we're just getting pulled from very many different directions at the same time. So there's a 4-3. Can I dodge? That's basically the story of... So I'm gonna just play around Blood Moon here. My opponent's clock is significant, but not unbeatable. And here I can either fetch for a greens and basic forest or a white source. I think I'm gonna go for a white source. Gives me more outs. Yeah, I could have played the Saga as well, but been a bad play. It's just way too likely that my opponents kept it, because their hand was kind of slow. So it's way too likely that they kept the Blood Moon hand. Opponent goes after Ren. Of course. Of course. Of course I get Blood Moon after fetching a white source when I could have gotten a green one. And of course I get punished by drawing Naya. That punishes me. I mean, I still feel like it's correct, but not too much that I can do about it. Another Ren. I mean, I'm gonna play it. I'm just gonna play out my cards even though they don't do anything. Your go. Actually, it's interesting to play out Saga there, even though it gets destroyed. But if I draw specifically basic forest, then I can just go for Titania, and I get a free 5/3 on the way out. So at this point they have double Blood Moons, so I'm probably just dead regardless. But, oh, come on, dude. Oh, monkey. Oh, monkey. Oh, monkey. This is like the worst deck that I have ever played against. Like, this is, I guess Valky, never mind, like there's Valky, right? Valky was the worst deck I've ever played against. But the Scam deck is a close second. The Scam deck is a close second. It's just kind of irrelevant, right? It basically makes gameplay just irrelevant because nothing, like, it doesn't matter which cards you have in hand. It just matters which cards your opponent draws. So, like, whether we have a game or not, it's entirely up to my opponent. Like, I have no agency as to whether we're gonna have a good game or not. My opponent is, like, if my opponent's hand is, like, turn 1 Grief into, like, do the thing, I can't lose and there's nothing I can do about it. And if I basically start drawing well off the top of my deck, then, like, again, I have no agency because, like, I kept the hand. And then it's just my opponent, like, the top of my deck delivered well as opposed to delivering wrong. So I basically have no agency. I have no control. And gameplay doesn't really matter. Like, for example, here I made a choice. If I had chosen to go for a second green source, I could have cast my Titania. And maybe that would have helped me change things. But it's just like, again, it depends on my opponent's draw. Like, I made a choice and I was punished for that choice because of my opponent's draw, and it's like 50-50, right? Like, I can't beat everything. And if I had gone a basic forest and then my opponent didn't have Blood Moon and they had, like, Dothy into Thoughtseize, then it's the opposite, right? So or if I could have also just, like, drawn one of the prismatic candies and answer the Blood Moon or something like that, but I just didn't. So that's what I'm saying. Like, my hand doesn't matter. The top of my decks is what matters, and I have, of course, no agency over that. But yeah, that's it. Start 3-0 and then just down to 3-2. Brutal. All right, folks, wrapping this up. The idea was interesting. As I said at the beginning, I thought that the deck was not built in the best possible way, probably. So I would need to make adjustments accordingly. I think that, you know, honestly, I just really wanted to flip to flip Titania. Didn't quite get to, but the cards individually actually looked nice, particularly when I got paired against the Murktide player. Like, both of these cards, like Titania gaining me a bunch of life sort of incidentally, and then, like, Argoth just effectively taking over in the late game. Both of those things kind of looked very, very impressive, or, like, at least they did something that I was not necessarily. I was kind of hoping that I could do both things, but they kind of did something in a less flashy but more in being less flashy. It was actually more impressive because it was like such a small thing, like such a slow add to it, like such a slow grind. So that was nice. As far as the mana goes, I felt like I was just constantly struggling because if I was setting up Leyline Binding, then I wasn't setting up Ren and 6. So that was a little bit problematic. Maybe what I have to do is I have to assume that Leyline Binding is always going to be 2 mana at least. And if I make that choice in deck building, then instead of playing Rafine's Tower, I can go ahead and I can play something like Indata Triumph or something like that. So I'm basically fetching for a Triumph on turn 1 which allows me to potentially leyline, but then I'm actually able to cast Ren and 6 on turn 2. Because like that's the brutal part, right? Like the fact that Rafin's Tower doesn't allow me to do that. The other option would be to use, for example, like... I don't even know if there's another possibility. I guess like we could have like Sacred Foundry. No, because like I really want this to be a white plains, right? So I can fetch it off Flagstones. Yeah, it's rough. Like it's rough. Like it's a very interesting deck building puzzle, because I guess I just think that I don't really think that there's an answer to it. Because like I want it to be a plane so I can fetch it off Flagstones, but I also want to make sure that it allows binding to be 1 mana, but that's probably just not feasible. And I'm just stuck casting binding for 2, which is not the worst, to be honest. So yeah, that's definitely like some food for thought. But obviously this card, like the second Argoth, is just too much, right? Like I should be playing just a singleton copy, and I can always just tutor for it with Reclaimer or Map. But I do have to say that I was kind of impressed by like Argoth's impact. And that, by the way, is something else. We're playing a bunch, like all of these lands right here are great utility lands, but all of these lands don't help my leyline binding count. So in multiple situations, I was in a spot where I could actually go ahead and use all of my sweet utility lands, and I was drawing lands, but I had like 4 lands in play, and my binding still cost 3 mana or something like that, which made things a little bit awkward. So, in short, question mark for leyline binding, thumbs up kind of for Titania, thumbs up for Argoth. I'm definitely going to be playing some more of these in a more realistic version. I'm only going to be playing a singleton Argoth and maybe try to make some adjustments to the mana base so I can cast Rain on 2. So maybe playing Death Triumph over Rafin's Tower and stuff like that, and just assume the leyline is going to cost 2. But leyline actually looked very good. I really liked leyline binding as just a card, like just as a guard and as a way to impact the board. So like that a lot. Besides that, the scam deck is just miserable to play against. Like it's very much non-enjoyable. It just is a miserable experience. Like I don't know what else to say about that. It's basically the equivalent of like mono green in Pioneer, where like you're just sitting there and it's just your decisions don't really matter, because all that matters is your opponent's draw, and you basically have no agency over the outcome of the game, and that just feels terrible. So I don't think the deck, I mean, I do think the deck is very, very good, but it's basically a really bad deck to have as a tier 1 deck. So I hope that something gets done about it in terms of, I don't know if banning something, but like finding or like printing a card that renders the strategy like sort of useless, or like an effective way of fighting this strategy, because there's no real way to actually fight it, right? The only way that you can interact with the scam plan on turn 1 is Solitude, and it's not very good at doing it, So unless you want to play Path to Exile, and then you have to play, like you have to beg that you're on the play and you can interact that way. So I'm not sure about that. It really lessens, because I've been playing in the past 3 leagues that I've played in Modern, I played against Scam once at least, and it really makes the experience of playing the format that much worse. So it makes me less excited about the format, if I'm being honest, particularly when I'm currently like really enjoying something like Pre-Modern, where there's no such thing, there's no such deck that feels as bad as playing against. So that's like a little bit on the low note about the format, but everything else looks great in the format. Like everything else looked great, and everything else about the format is fun. It's just like there's like this black sheep, that's kind of making everything worse for everybody. So hoping that changes somehow. Obviously this deck is not going to change that, but hopefully you did enjoy the content, and if you did, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. You can get notified whenever new videos get uploaded. Also, if you're interested in supporting the content and you're interested in using TCG Players or Mana Traders' service, you can check out the links in the description of the video down below, and you can also find the discount code in Mana Traders as well if you're interested in starting your subscription. And if you would like to support the stream, you can do so through Patreon, through donations, where I could play any deck list of your choosing with any donation of $30 or more. And finally, you can book coaching sessions with me if you want to take your game to the next level. That's gonna be it for this video though. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.